Hello and welcome to the Loudcast. Here we have what basically we consider the sister series to Talking Loud. I am Andrew Brauer. Not only do I host Talking Loud, but I also host the Loudcast, where I bring in not only members of the team but also other people who are interested in coming onto my podcast here. Like I said, I'm Andrew Brauer, and joining me today we have fellow member Yoshi Player.
Hello, I'm Yoshi Player. You might remember me from my YouTube channel. I joined the Loud House community a few months ago. I'm definitely proud to be part of it and joining these communities.
Also here today we have another new member for today, the Cartoon OG.
Hi there, what's up, everybody? I am a fan of the Loud House. I have my own YouTube channel, and I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So now that we've all introduced ourselves, now the first thing I'll say is that for the Loudcast, like for anybody who's saying like, oh, isn't this just Talking Loud? Not really. For Talking Loud, that's where we have like a topic of conversation that we each give our points on. With Loudcast, this is more free form, where we'll have like something we talk about, and we just kind of like just we all just talk about it free form. There's not really like somebody gives their turn for whatnot. It's just kind of like we all come together and we just talk about it at random, like a group conversation. It's not like it's again this topic. Somebody says their opinion on that and whatnot. So with that, I figure for our first episode of the Loudcast that we talk about something that I'm pretty sure a lot of Loudhouse fans also do kind of think about. What their possible dream episode could be like.
For me, well, I think it's obvious who I would use for a dream episode.
Like if you
I
use them
would
as like the main focus, like whether it's
main
Lincoln,
focus
sisters.
for a dream episode. I would focus on Lincoln, Luna, and Lenny, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same
Because
way too. I mean if
we
you
have not had an episode focused on those two yet with Lincoln.
yeah, I mean it's pretty obvious that any fan of Loud House can basically say that Lenny and Luna are like the nicest to Lincoln. Like any normal fan would say that. Like the only people who wouldn't really get that are either people who really hate Lenny and Luna, which I don't really encounter a lot of them, or those who have barely just seen the show. Like, can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so I would have like it'd be interesting like how my dream episode would go cuz like it might be kind of inspired by like some of my fanfics that I write. Like I have one of them I'm working on right now where like Luna has to pick up a mattress for mom and dad, and she forces Lincoln to come because it's part of like some sort of deal. And then he brings Lenny along, and it all ties into the story. They get to the mattress store, and it turns out it's a mattress on wheels. So then they have to bring the mattress back home, and they encounter all kinds of craziness. I mean, that's not my dream episode. That's just a story I have working on. So Yoshi, like you would have those Lincoln, Lenny, and Luna as the main focus, right?
Yep.
Like what would be like a cool plot that you would like to see them in?
I'd like to see. This is actually a fan fiction we worked on. I want to see like some kind of episode where Lenny and Luna are very protective of Lincoln, and every time he goes outside, they're always trying to protect him from something, and they're like, "Oh, you better be careful because there's bullies out there, and they might hurt you." So we just want to make sure you're safe. And they eventually go too far, and Lincoln gets annoyed, and he's like, "Okay, you need to stop with the all this protection stuff. It's annoying me." And then at one point, Lincoln actually does get caught by the bullies, and then Letty and Luna show up and they rescue him, and basically it just shows how much they care about him.
That would be a cool episode. If only, unfortunately, it wouldn't really happen because like if it ended up airing, then a lot of people would complain about it.
Why?
They would complain about it because it'd be like, oh, Lenny and Luna help him. What about like Lori and Luann and Lynn? Like they care about Lincoln too.
Hmm. I guess you're kind of right about that.
Yeah,
Well,
I can.
yeah, I know it's. They would make an episode about like the older sisters being like supervising Lincoln, but I'm just saying that out of all of them, Lenny and Luna are probably the best ones.
Yeah, but I feel like if they ended up like if they had just Luna and Lenny there, then they would complain about it, because they'd be like, "Why would you do that?" Lori loves Lincoln, even though like we've only seen that a few episodes, and Lynn loves Lincoln the most. Like, did you see Space Invader?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that only
especially with
proved how much I hate
Alice.
Lynn.
Yeah, I wouldn't say hate. Hate's a bit of a strong word. I would say very much dislike. Like,
Yeah.
that's my feeling on Lynn, and I feel like a lot of you again would also well, those complaining about it would probably be the fans of Lincoln. Like, they probably would be like, Lynn is very loving and protective of Lincoln. Like, why do you have to have like those two bitches like be the ones that care for Lincoln the most? And
Probably because in
Because they show
most
the most
appearances
care
we've
for him
seen,
in
they're
other
the ones
episodes.
that show the most affection.
yeah, I mean, and I feel like also for the story they probably would end up throwing like the younger sisters in there too. Because, like, hey, like, we gotta, like, throw everybody in there, just like what they did with episodes like Cheater by the Dozen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said. But the only problem is that sometimes it's better to focus on less sisters because sometimes, like, when you have all of them in there, we get the problem where some of them, just feel like background characters or they just feel shoehorned in when they don't need to be there.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, and if we end up having, like, Lincoln and one sister, if we end up having, like, less sisters focus on, it's only really one, and it's just with Lincoln. It's like we can't have, like, oh, Lincoln, a sister, and another sister, because I don't know why they haven't done that. I mean, like, why
Yeah,
haven't they had, like, a trio episode?
I don't get that either, especially because many episodes where it was just Lincoln and one or two other sisters have actually turned out really well. I mean, look at Toads and Tiaras, look at Frog Wild, those are great.
Yeah, like also speaking of Totes and Tiaras, I just figured out this thing from last night. The moral and message from Totes and Tiaras, like okay, no, okay, here's what it is. The moral from making the grade, it's the exact same one from Totes and Tiaras, only it's somehow worse. Because
Oh,
like
really?
remember for Totes and Tiaras, there's that message about you should be yourself and like you shouldn't change others.
Yeah.
Like that's used again for making the grade. Only it focuses less on the be yourself part and more on like, hey, let's basically make Lincoln feel like shit and have everyone be angry at him so that way he gets it that he shouldn't change Lisa.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right, exactly. So Yoshi, that would be like your dream episode, like Lenny and Luna being super protective of Lincoln.
Yes, absolutely. I would absolutely love it if they did an episode like that. I'm not sure if they would, but if they did, I would be like an infinite favorite episode.
Right. A dream episode for me. For a dream episode for me, that might take some time. Why don't I let OG go first?
Well, in terms of a dream episode, I'd have to think about it. I mean, I also have my own Lincoln Luna Lenny fan fiction. As you guys know, it's Beach Blanket Lincoln, where they go on that school trip to Aloha Beach.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description so that people can check out that story.
Yeah.
Oh, and
I
put a
have done
link in the
that before.
description for my story, the one
Yeah,
I was talking about.
yeah, of course, I'll do that.
I mean,
Too much
I
protection.
mean,
That's what it's called.
I have done a story like that before. I'm not exactly sure if that would necessarily be my dream episode, but I guess that could be a template for maybe how I would want it. Like not exactly them going on a trip to Aloha Beach, but just the three of them in general.
Like it'd be like kind of like a slice of life episode where like it's not focused on like a main conflict, just like the three hanging out.
Well, maybe not like that. I mean, the way I did it, there was definitely a lot to it. They go to the beach,
And
they're
there was
there, and even
and there
though
was a
it's
conflict to it. Like there was like Chandler that was getting involved.
yeah, and of course Ronnie Ann was involved too, and so were Bobby and Clyde because it was a school trip, and of course Lenny and Luna were there because they were chaperones, and same with Bobby.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Was the beach trip, how Luna and Lenny they go as chaperones, and that's the reason why they play a big part in the story. But like I was saying, it wasn't just about them and Lincoln. Clyde is there too, and so is Ronnie Ann. Ronnie Ann plays a part, and then Chandler comes in with the conflict. What I'm saying is maybe I wouldn't do it exactly with those characters involved, but at least have something where it's Lincoln, Lenny, and Luna.
Well, if I was like doing a dream episode, I mean, I probably would make it like I wouldn't make it really that serious. I would kind of like make it just more like a fun, silly adventure. Kind of like what I was saying earlier about the fanfic I'm working on with the mattress that I call two louds for one. And I kind of would make it fun where like all three of them play off each other. Like you have like
Mattress.
yeah, mattress. Again, it's a story I'm working on. But like how the story would go, like they would have like distinct roles. It would kind of remind me a little bit of like older comedy shows or cartoons I've seen where like the main characters are a trio and they kind of have like they all like know each other as friends, but they're each different in a certain way. But like they have a similarity where like they all love each other. Like that's for like Lincoln, Luna, and Lenny. Like I feel like for Lincoln, he'd be like the straight man in it all, like be the normal sane one, while Luna's kind of more like the really fun, like wants to have a good time kind of character. And then Lenny basically played the dits in the trio. Like I feel like all three of them, I'm like they would play off each other really well.
Yeah, same. I agree with that.
Yeah, like for my dream episode, it would kind of be like a again like a sort of like adventure sort of thing. Like they have to like take care of something. Although my biggest issue that I have is like how all three of them would come together in the into the conflict.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because, like I said, my beach story, I probably wouldn't do it like that, and I don't know, like what the conflict would be or what the location would be. But it wouldn't just be them at the house; it would actually be them going somewhere and doing something fun together.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, yeah, I do like stories where it's just at the house, but I feel like that would be a bit too mundane for a dream episode. I want it to be more exciting.
Yeah, I'm still trying to like think about like a dream episode. I mean, like other than like Lenny and Luna involved, like which other sisters would you like have involved in in a dream episode? Like any favorites that you have?
Oh, oh, like maybe they appear, but they don't necessarily play a big part. It's still just mostly about Lincoln, Lenny, and Luna.
Yeah, you could
Maybe
do that,
more
or
at one
like it
point.
could be like another cool dream episode idea that you have where it might involve another favorite sister of yours.
I'd probably say Luann.
Uh,
Go on,
yeah,
you have an idea?
I was like thinking too like that as well. Like, or I would kind of also just make it like a. Ooh, I did also kind of think it's just a dream episode where like maybe it's like a where like three siblings face off against three siblings in like a bunch of like games. Like I was like kind of because earlier today I was watching these fun challenge videos, like these video like okay, not challenge videos, these fun videos on YouTube of like people playing these cool games, like they're playing certain games like Heads Up, which you can you can look it up on YouTube if you don't know what it is for anybody who's listening. But like I was like watching it and I was just like, I could see this like being used for like the siblings playing along. Like Lincoln's on a team with Luna and
Lenny
Lenny.
and Luna.
Yeah, and then like for the other team, it could probably be like Lori, Luann, and Lynn.
Luann.
Like it's Lincoln and his older sisters playing these games. And like what would
Yeah,
happen
that
is
sounds like a
that
decent idea.
yeah, and what would happen is that unfortunately Lincoln's team is kind of falling behind in like a certain game that they're playing primarily because of each other. Like Lenny would end up messing something up, or or Luna wouldn't exactly be following the instructions, and Lincoln's just trying to like keep both of them together, and like they're kind of clashing with one another. Like maybe the episode could like turn out where like Lincoln's trying to like get the two to get along better.
Get along better.
Yeah, like because I haven't really seen any any instances in the show where like Lenny and Luna really interact with each other. So I really know what their relationship would be like with each other.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, what do you think, Yoshi?
Yeah, I've barely seen any interaction between Lenny and Luna in the show. I don't know why. Like, do the writers not think that they could have a good relationship with each other? I mean, I know they have a good relationship with Lincoln, but if it's gonna be a perfect bonding thing, they all have to get along with each other.
Yeah, that's also kind of because there's only been like a few, very few times where I've actually seen them talk to each other. Like there was a Come Sail Away where Lenny said it was during that part where they were they're trying to like get Lily's blanket back, and Lenny said that she found one by the door, and then Luna was like, "That's a doormat, dude," and then she's like, "Dang it." You remember that
Yeah,
part? Yeah,
I
and then
remember
also
that.
Along
Hmm.
Came a Sister, where like Luna was like playing with the pot, and Lenny was kind of tapping her foot to the
Jamming
music.
to it.
Yeah, like I feel like those were the only instances I've seen it in, which I'm just like, I want to see more. You know, like I've seen Lenny interact more with other sisters. Like I've seen her interact with Luann more, Lori especially
Lori,
more.
a
Yeah, and
little
that's
less sometimes.
yeah, another thing, another pairing. Even though I would really enjoy Lenny and Luna being paired up, I also would be equally down for Lenny and Luann being paired up as well.
Yeah, same here. I actually think they could work off each other pretty well, both
Yeah,
of the Yoshi.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think because I think out of all the older sisters are like the most or not just the older sisters. Out of all the sisters, I think they're like the most happy. Like they're the most happy,
Yep.
cheerful, and like I would really be interested in the banter they have. Like, cause you have like the funny one, and you also have the dumb ditzy one. But out of all the characters, I find those two to be the funniest characters in the show.
Yeah, like you said, the happiest. Well, excluding Lily, who's pretty much always
Well,
happy,
she's a
but Luna
baby.
doesn't really count because she's a baby.
Yeah. So and it was this image that I saw like months ago of Yoshi would know this. It's a part in SpongeBob with that chocolate with nuts episode. Do you remember that, Yoshi?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like the part where they were like running and they had like those orange handbags. I saw a pic where it had like Lenny and Luann running with the handbags and like forward, like he's. And I saw that pic and I was just like, I really want to see a Lenny and Luann episode. Like just seeing those two paired up together for something, it could just lead to something really funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, like for the dream episode, I mean, I guess for my dream episode, I would say it's like where Lincoln is with his older sisters. They get paired up into two teams of three, and they're playing a series of like games. And Lincoln and his team are basically trying to win, even though they're having trouble with it because like Lenny and Luna are clashing with one another. So he has to try and get the two to get along and work together as a team. For me, that would be a pretty cool episode, and I wouldn't be surprised if the series actually ended up doing that.
Hmm. Yeah, that does sound
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, it
For some
does.
reason, in a way, for some reason, in a way, this sort of sounds like my one of my early fanfics, Sporting Chance, where the siblings are divided. And in this case, it would just be Lincoln and the older sisters, not all of them.
Yeah, it does kind of sound similar to that. I mean, that would
What was
that
that?
that I was saying that it does kind of sound similar to that. I mean, it would be pretty cool if the series actually did that. I mean, it could end up doing that. We're only in season two right now.
Yeah, and we're
Hmm.
only about
Yeah,
halfway into
that's
season
true.
two, so we still have a whole other half.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so we already talked about like dream episodes that we had. I mean, uh, like okay, like we've all talked to each other for a while, and it seems like one thing we all have in common for sure. Well, there's two things we have in common. One is that our three favorite characters on the show. Well, okay, let's just say our two favorite characters on the show, aside from Lincoln, is Lenny and Luna. Like I think,
Yep.
yeah, because from what I've seen from like other uh like other like best lists and whatnot, I don't really see like Lenny and Luna as like the top two. Like like sometimes like I see them in like various different positions. Sometimes I see them in, like top fives, and sometimes I kind of see them like and like the bottom of like their least favorite. The only person I know who really isn't a fan of Lenny is Vossi, which if you don't know that, check out Talking Loud, the first episode. He does mention that.
Yeah, and I do know there are some people out there who aren't fans of Lenny, but for the most part, Lenny seems to be on many people's like top favorite siblings, but not always like in the top three, but somewhere up there.
It's not a surprise why she tops so many lists. I mean, again, like I think not only is she really funny, but a lot of people like her because she's really nice.
Yeah, I know.
Like she's the
So
nicest out of all the sisters.
yeah, I always find her personality just irresistible. Like, I just can't resist her character.
Yeah, which kind of gets me worried about like season 2, because I was mentioning how Lenny's kind of devolving into being just really stupid.
Which is
Yeah,
absolutely not her character at all.
Yeah, she's ditzy, but there's also other
She's
character traits
ditzy,
about
but
her.
she's not stupid.
There's other character traits
yeah.
about her, like for season 1, they did sometimes show her working with fashion.
Yep, I know this all too well. I've even done a blog about this.
Yeah, which we will put in the description if you want to check that out. And and it was also something I was mentioning in the Talking Loud, where Lenny couldn't really tell the difference between a real person and basically a training dummy.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know.
When I first saw that, I thought to myself, "You got to be kidding me! If fashion is if fashion is her big thing, then she's probably worked with mannequins before, and I think she could distinguish between an inanimate object and a real person, even if the inanimate object is built in the shape of a person, because most likely she's used, mannequins to like model dresses and whatnot."
Yeah, I mean, because what else would you put your designs on? Like, where else would you put it?
I'm not sure. The only other time we've seen that is when she used Lincoln that one time, but
Okay, so what we were saying before, like Lenny, she would, because again, she works with she uses mannequins to put her designs on. Because if she can't tell the difference between a mannequin and a real person, then where would she put her designs on?
yeah, that's true.
Exactly. And I know you mentioned this. I mentioned this, and OG mentioned this as well in his blog. How they're kind of playing up her being a bit of a valley girl as well.
Oh yeah, I really hate it when she talks that way. I mean, not only is that kind of speech pattern outdated, but I feel it's really demeaning when she talks like that.
Yeah, where she says
I hear it so well.
and just to the mall and junk.
I really hated that Mullen joke, or occasionally when she says totes or when she says cray cray and no guts, no glory. I hate it when she talks like that. I find it really demeaning.
I mean, again, it's part of her character, but it's still kind of annoying,
I
in
mean,
my
luckily the
opinion.
totes thing. Yeah, I mean, luckily the whole totes thing has happened a few times, but it's not very common. Like I
I
said, that's the best thing I can say about it, is that it's not very common. But when it does pop up, you're thinking like, why did they even do that? She doesn't really talk like this that often, so I include it.
I get the feeling that they did that because if any of you have watched the newest podcast on the Nick Animation YouTube channel, they talked about how they one of them was at a Target, I think, and they heard a teenage girl saying literally, and they were like, oh well, that's how we should have Lori talk. I wonder if they heard some teen girls saying totes or just cray cray, because I feel like that might have been some of the inspiration for how Lenny talks a little.
The funny thing about Lori is that I usually find her character as sort of like a way of poking fun at how a lot of young people just abuse the term literally and use it even if it's not necessary. Especially because sometimes when people use the term literally, they're not using it correctly.
I actually never noticed that. I just saw her saying literally as just, oh, that's part of her character.
That's just a theory that me and a friend have, because my friend has this because my friend, it's a pet peeve of his of how people use the word literally, because he feels like they use it too often and they don't do it correct, like when they could just say figuratively, they use literally.
Right. I mean, from where you live, OG, do you hear people saying that a lot? Let's just say that from whatever areas that we live, which we won't say because we don't give out private information. From where we live, do we hear people saying literally in the wrong way?
To my knowledge, no, I don't think so.
What about you, Yoshi? All right, well, I just found out that Yoshi's mic is cut, so we'll have to wait till he comes back. But anyways, another thing that aside from all three of us having aside from all three of us having Lenny and Luna as our top two favorites, we also seem to have Lynn at our bottom for our list.
Oh yeah, it's always been like that for me. Even back when I kind of didn't like Lola or Rory.
Like even when the show first started, you were just like Lynn's at the bottom of my list.
I mean, yeah, especially because if you remember when the before the show came out, they leaked a couple of they leaked episode 4, which was the sweet spot tale of two tables, and as soon as I saw that, I remember thinking to myself, oh god, as soon as I saw the thing where Lynn is just giving Lincoln a smug grin and she wants to hit him when she sees cars, I was like, oh, I got her character figured. She's someone who just bullies her siblings for fun.
Well, from what I've seen from people defending Lynn, is that they can relate to her because there are actually siblings who do enjoy like beating up their other sisters, not other sisters, other siblings. Like I feel like Lynn is basically like that annoying younger sibling or older sibling who gets their kicks out by basically beating up their siblings. I mean, I don't know, like I mean, I kind of had that with my younger brother, but but once we got older, we kind of like just went past it.
I mean, I don't know where that comes from. I mean, I honestly never did that at all with my siblings.
Yeah. Okay, well, we just got an update saying that Yoshi had to leave, so the rest of this podcast will be focused on just me and OG.
Yeah, I got it too. Sorry for the cough. I'm getting over a cold.
Nah, it's okay. Uh, which okay, I can kind of see the defense for why people would like Lynn, but I mean, it might be defense, but it doesn't really excuse her just being so unlikable, in my opinion. Because like just because
I
like this
know
is
it's
a
just insane.
sibling, like just because it's a sibling that you can relate to if you were like that, it doesn't mean that it's a character I would really enjoy seeing.
I mean, it's not just the fact that she's just depicted as unlikable. A lot of times, it's just the fact that she's just so one note. She's the same. She never changes. There's no development.
And that's also a point that a lot of people don't. A lot of again, what I said in the last episode, quote unquote, the Lynn army. That's something that they don't really seem to point out. Is that really out of all of the characters, she really has not been given any sort of development whatsoever. And my two theories are either they're working on it for Linner's Takes All, where she's finally going to get some development, or that's actually something that all of her fans like, is that she doesn't get development and that she stays the same.
Which I find kind of weird. I mean, why do you? I mean, usually development is something that can help a character, help you, like, maybe connect with them better, and
Yeah,
I
like
mean, just seeing
having
a character as the same over and over again gets really tedious, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean the point of having character development is to explore their personality and like some of their flaws and why they do certain things and help them get over something and help them get over certain things that are going on with themselves to help them become better characters. Like help them be characters that the audience can get behind.
Yep, I agree with that.
And I feel
Not
like
to
with
mention character, like I said. Sorry.
uh and I mean like I said, I mean with Lynn, we haven't really had that. But continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, like I was saying, and development, like I said, is something that can help you connect with a character better, because sometimes if a person is the same the whole time, then that can get really monotonous. But if they change, then you could probably relate to that too, because things change in real life too. I mean, I can definitely say I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Right, exactly. I mean, and that's also another thing that would work about character development. It's that it's something we can all relate to because we develop over time, like just like characters on shows. And you could also make the excuse that it's a cartoon, like you're not really expected to have character development. But we're living in an era of cartoons where storytelling and character development is becoming more widely accepted and praised by not only critics but audiences alike, and they want to see more cartoons that would focus on characters and story, because with cartoons there's so much that there's basically anything you could do with cartoons that like try something new out, like have like just have this connect better with the characters, like find a way where we can somehow connect with the characters while still being as zany and imaginative as you can. Like that's really what I seem to be seeing a lot with a lot of the cartoons.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, like Leonard's Takes All, that could be the episode that actually ends up convincing me that, okay, Lynn does have some development. She's not that unlikable. But if it ends up being another Loudest Yard, then I'm just going to be like, this is only for Lynn's fans, and that's it.
Yeah, same here. Like I said, and it's not just the whole one note thing. And of course, another problem with her is her humor because her humor is one note as much as her character. I mean, her humor is nothing. It's either just her, like, being tough and inconsiderate, or just her being crude and nasty.
I definitely do agree with you, and that's the thing is that a lot of people actually don't mind that because apparently another quality that people like about Lynn is that she's supposedly really funny, and it seems like the writers actually do agree with that, considering that I have seen a lot of instances so far with the show, particularly with season 2, and I mentioned this in my last video that Lynn has definitely been used very much for like the moments where comedy is supposed to be used in an episode. Like I feel like a lot of the humor that's used for Lynn is kind of overshadowing everybody else.
Yep, I definitely agree with that.
I mean, episodes that pop out to me probably would be No Such Luck, which I feel like the moments I really didn't like where she was like, I guess trying to be funny, like the baseball bat thing where she threatened Lincoln. I can imagine probably people found that funny. I don't know how they would find it funny, but they probably did. Or
I mean, I did either.
yeah, or I don't even know. Again, like I don't want to remember No Such Luck because like I've already discussed it in detail in the last episode. But I'm also thinking about other episodes where she was kind of used a lot for uh, the jokes, but I might discuss it in another video. But let's just say I have been seeing it a lot where she's used very much for the comedy.
Yes, I agree with that. Another one that kind of sticks out for me in a way is one that she wasn't even in very much, which was Intern for the Worst, where we basically just see her used for the whole, for the whole joke where she's basically paranoid and superstitious.
Oh yeah, her whole like we don't go number one. I mean, it was like we don't go number 2 unless we go number 1, which I joked
Yeah,
about
exactly.
with Muppet in Talking Loud, where we were like, that's gonna end up on a shirt for Lynn. Like when Lynn starts selling shirts, that's gonna be used.
Yeah, the whole yeah, yeah, and of course it's supposed to be like a way to say that she's superstitious, but of course I'm not, fond of that joke since it's a freaking bathroom metaphor, and I'm not into that kind of.
Yeah, I wish that we something that I would like to see for for Lynn's character is that they actually end up explaining her superstitions. Like maybe she's somebody who is so obsessed with like being number 1 that if she ends up losing, she won't blame herself. She'll blame like superstitions or anybody else on that matter. Like if they end up showing that as a character flaw for her and then explore it, then I'll end up really getting more into Lynn's character.
Speaking of Lynn, I just figured out something in No Such Luck that I think is kind of a plot hole. Well, not really a plot hole, but something that doesn't really make sense in a way.
What is it?
If Link, you know how she thought that it was because of Lincoln that her thing got screwed up in the game.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then how come in the Loudest Yard? How come that wasn't happening? He was around when they were playing football. It's like, and he was around. How nothing happened then? So why is it just because he shows up now this happens when that didn't happen then?
Now that I think about it, well, then again, at the games that Lynn went to posing as Lincoln, he didn't really show up to those games. I feel like he only showed up at that last game. And oh, I don't really know what happened to Lynn. Like I don't remember the Loudest Yard all that much. It's that forgettable in my opinion. But didn't she like get exposed during the game?
Yes, she did.
Maybe that
Oh
might
yeah,
ha-
my mis-
maybe that might have had to do with Lincoln being there.
and yeah, and oh, my mistake. I can't believe I brought this up, but Lincoln wasn't even there. He would just wait under a tree reading comics. Then she would come back, and then they'd switch the clothes, and then she'd hit him in the face with mud.
Yeah, but then she would hit him with a face of mud because of course she would. Again, for as much as people would say that Lynn was being super caring in that episode, She's again, she really only seemed to be doing it less because she loved Lincoln, but more because I want to show everyone how awesome I am at football.
It felt more like that. It didn't really feel like she cared about Lincoln. It felt like she was just trying to push something she was into onto him because he said that he didn't want to do. He's like, what are you talking about? Football's awesome. So that's how I see it. She's just trying to push her own interests onto him so that he'll want to do it.
Yeah, and that was also kind of like during that training montage again. People would argue she's being super nice and caring there, which which I can say, okay, which I'm like, okay, you can tell that she did want to help Lincoln, but if she really wanted to help Lincoln, she should have at least realized that her training methods weren't really working for him.
No, they were not.
But in which of course they wouldn't really do that because they had to also because if they ended up focusing more on the training, then we really wouldn't get the plot of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, the whole thing not working for him sort of goes into her whole thing with how really all she does is give him a hard time for fun, and that she never really seems to consider that it's inconveniencing him and he doesn't like it. So
Which that's also been another defense that a lot of people had is that they do say that Lincoln cares. I mean, not Lincoln, that Lynn loves Lincoln, but it's just in her way. Look, the thing is that I get that certain siblings show their love to each other in different ways, but there's a fine line. But sometimes her ways of showing love, it kind of crosses into just basically kind of just beating on somebody just for their own benefit, and not because you want to
it
show that
doesn't
they love that Lynn loves Lincoln.
it, it doesn't really show it's not it doesn't really seem like she's just showing love, but in a rough way. It just that's sometimes it just makes it look like she's sadistic.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, the only like the closest she came to actually being sincere to Lincoln was in No Such Luck when she actually for once apologized to him for the bad luck thing. But of course, that moment was immediately ruined with the soldier furniture line.
And the ending where they're still inconveniencing him by having him put on the squirrel costume, but let's not go into too much detail on that.
Yeah, and after and then after that ending, basically everyone got pissed, and then rewrites and sequels ensued.
Yep, that's why I said let's not go too much into detail on this.
I won't go into detail on that, but it is also kind of like something that I actually just kind of thought about. I was talking about it with some other members, and I was like, it seems like for a lot of the most recent fanfics, they've been focused more on just these rewrites and whatnot, and yet for more original stories, they hardly seem to be getting any attention. Like
Yeah,
like your last story that you put out, like I don't really remember it getting a lot of buzz.
which one? Building blocks?
Yeah, I don't really remember it's getting like a whole lot of comments or a whole lot of love.
Not so much. I mean, outside of my core readers, which we know who they are.
Right. And yet it seems like for like these newer stories that once again, no such luck rewrites, alternate endings and sequels and just whatnot, they seem to be getting a lot more attention, and half of them seem to be like agreement fanfics, and others are just like from comments of people saying stop doing these are getting annoying, which we would we would pretty much fall in that category.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
mean, I know Yoshi did one just to try to put an end to it once and for all.
yeah, and I helped him co-write it, but I don't really think it seemed to work considering that people still said that it was just another. It was just basically another sequel that other people were doing. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, and then
so you were saying?
but yeah, like I was saying, oh, yeah, we were still on the subject of Lynn, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty much saying my main points for why she's at the bottom of my list. I mean, unless you have any other points.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. Like I said, the reason why Lynn is my least favorite Loud sister is because she's really one note. I just find her kind of unlikable. Her humor is too lowbrow for my liking. I don't like lowbrow humor, and that's really all I can say.
I mean, lowbrow humor can work for me if it's done in a way that surprises me. But if it's done in a very predictable way, like if she just burps or farts, then it's not really that funny to me. Like lowbrow humor, it can work if it comes in a way where it surprises me and I didn't see it coming. But with Lynn, it's so predictable and basic that I just don't find it funny.
Yeah, that's how it is. Like I said, and just one note, she just comes off as mean for no reason most of the time, and so that's really all I got. So what else do we have for today's podcast?
Well, I figure on the subject of sisters, our top fives are also similar because, like, don't we also have Luann and Lucy in our top five as well?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I have Luann and Lucy, and I also have Lana in mine.
yeah. I like for like our top ten our list of favorite characters, like Yoshi included, if he was still here. They all seem to be very similar. Like, not only is Lynn at the bottom, but also Lori is pretty close to being at the bottom as well. Like, probably second to last.
Yeah, and which is kind of weird though, because with the exception of Lynn, I don't dislike any of the sisters at all.
Yeah, I mean, Lori was a character I did kind of have at the bottom. Well, that was until like I've seen like better episodes where she was in. And so far for season 2, there hasn't been an episode that I hated her in. It's just that she's just kind of been boring.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, there's never been an episode where
I mean, at least
she
until
just
Party Down. Like at least like until Party Down I found her boring. Then once Party Down came out, I was like, okay, yeah, I still do. I'm kind of starting to like Lori more.
yeah, I mean, just be glad we didn't get anything like Get the Message, where you just freaking can't stand her.
Oh yeah, you're also that's something that we do kind of have different opinions on is that I actually don't mind Get the Message. I think it's actually a pretty decent episode. While OG is really not a fan of it. I think it's on in his worst list.
Yeah, I mean, I've dropped it down a bit because I realized there are other episodes that are worse, but because of how she is, it just rubs me the wrong way, and I have a story about it that I don't know if I should say it, but
I mean, the links that I'm already gonna be putting the links for like some of your stories on here, so the the viewers will still be able to check it out. But I mean, we both can agree that Lori was without it the worst part of that episode.
Mhm. Well, I
Yeah.
won't talk about anything I've written. I was just talking about an experience I had where she upset me so much that I just, said something to the TV in anger. I think I might have told you about this before.
Yeah, I that's also kind of like similar with Yoshi as well. Like when he watched Sleuth or Consequences, he told me this, and he said at when the sisters were like I can't remember which part it was, like when they were laughing at him, he called them bitches.
Mhm.
Like, and I mean that's another episode you also really don't like, but well, that's for another
Yeah.
video. Anyways, uh, so again, we Lori is getting better for season 2. Uh, as far as other characters, I mean, like Luann is also in our top five, and I think we both of us have like very similar reasons as to why
Lola has actually been bumped up. Lola's actually 6 on my list. She
she.
used to she used to be lower, like at number 8, but now she's at number 6.
I've experienced the same. Lola, she's a number 6 for me, and that's because I think she's gotten better in the way that I think that, and I mentioned this in Talking Loud. She's basically Lori if she was funny. Like I think that she's someone who's a brat, but she plays it off as being more comedic and funny.
And if you actually see her, you can see that there's more to her. She does have a heart. She does love other people. She isn't an irredeemable monster.
I mean, she's a brat because, well, she's a pageant queen. She's 6 years old. That's not surprising, and it's a cartoon. But what I like is that the show at least shows us that she's not all super bratty and just up her own ass. She actually, like not Undie Pressure, A Tattler's Tale. She's someone who wants to hang out with her siblings. Like that's
Yeah,
why she tried to blackmail them.
yeah. The way I saw that was that it wasn't her being mean. It was basically her like she wants to be with her loved ones, but the thing is, she just doesn't know how to approach it. So I saw what she did in there more a crime of weakness, not her being mean.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and unfortunately, there have still been people who really hate Lola, even after episodes like Undie Pressure, A Tattler's Tale. They still do consider her probably like
Patching
the
things up.
even patching things up. She was great in that episode as well. And yet people will still say that. And I got a comment from somebody that said that she's a I can't remember what they said. I think they said that she was a nasty ass bitch.
Wow.
So I'm like,
Then again,
I don't really
then
know.
again, I shouldn't really be surprised about this because going back to what we were saying, when I saw Get the Message, I called Lori something worse than that, but I should say it.
Yeah. And you also said that you really didn't like the twins in that episode. I actually didn't mind the twins and Get the Message, mainly because they fit in with the story as that they were they were they were an obstacle in Lincoln's way to get Lori's phone. And I feel like it would be very fitting for the episode where Lincoln had some obstacles to get in the way of getting Lori's phone.
Yeah. Not to mention many people have brought this up for, one of the reasons why they feel that Lori's such a bad part in that episode is just the fact that this is all happening with no motivation, and something that I think could have maybe been better if, like, why is she so mad in this episode? Like, did something happen before these events? Like, why is she in this horrible mood?
My theory is that if Get the Message came out as like the sister episode to one of the boys, then it might have made more sense since at the end of one of the boys, she gets mad at Lincoln for breaking her watch.
Are you talking about Get the Message?
Yeah. Oh, and we have Yoshi back. I thought he was gone for
Hey
good.
Yoshi,
No, I'm back.
Anyways,
hey Yoshi.
we
I
were just
apologize for leaving.
well, you just missed a whole conversation on why we really don't like Lynn.
Oh, well, probably would have said what I would have said.
Yeah, anyways, and then we were talking about Get the Message where OG was talking about how the episode would have been better if we knew why Lori was so mad. And I said it would have made sense if one of the boys was like the first episode, and then like for its sister episode was Get the Message, because then it would kind of help tie in why Lori would be mad at Lincoln, because at the end of one of the boys he steps and breaks her watch and she gets mad at him.
There is actually one little hole I see with that theory.
What's that
If he
hole?
broke something of her, and if he broke something of his, I mean, if he broke something of hers, and she's like, you owe me money for this, and then she broke something of his, why would she buy it if she feels he owes her something? Why would she buy something for him for breaking something of his?
That's true. I mean, that's like my only
I mean,
possible. That's like my only possible theory as to how it could end up making sense. Because I don't really know like any other episodes in season one where Lincoln does something at the end that makes Lori mad.
yeah, I've always thought about that. Like, why was she in such a bad mood? I mean, did something happen at school? Did she fail a test? Did someone rub her the wrong way?
And also, some people have joked that it might have been her time of the month. Also, what are all of your guys' thoughts on Lisa?
Lisa, I would like her better if she wasn't the dry intellect. I personally would like her better if she was more like the eccentric,
I just,
type.
I just kind of find Lisa a bit bland. Like, I don't really find anything funny about her. I mean, I really liked her role in Snowboard, but that's about it.
Well, she was the best part in Snowboard, but I thought she was at her best in Lock and Loud.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and she was also hilarious in Party Down.
She wasn't used in Party Down all that much, but for the moment she was used in, I thought it was funny. The problem I have with her character, though, is that it, just like with Lynn, she's kind of one note. I mean, she's not as unlikable as Lynn, but I mean, her character is that she's really super smart. Like, she does experiments, and that's really about it. And that she's also uh, emotionless.
I mean, she's like if Dexter wasn't much fun.
Yeah, I mean, the problem I have with characters that are emotionless is that if you really have no emotions behind you, why should I care about you as a character?
Yeah, like I said, that's why I don't really like the dry intellect type. If she was more like the eccentric inventor, like if she was more like, say, Donatello from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, then I'd like that because she just has this kind of fun personality. And maybe if she was making things that didn't work or something, like I said, the eccentric inventor, that would be more interesting.
I mean, that's why I was
And like I
disappointed with
said
making the.
before,
I mean, that's why I was disappointed so much with making the grade is that it didn't really show that.
yeah, like you were saying, the message in that episode just feels like it's kind of botched, because it's like the third time they do the be yourself moral, and
Yeah, I
it's
know.
not
Like
presented well.
I mean, they did it with.
Sorry.
I mean, they did it with the whole picture, which I didn't like.
Ugh,
They did it with the whole. I mean, I'm
the
sorry.
They did
pain
it with
is
Toads and
real.
Tiaras,
The pain is
they did
real.
it with Toads and Tiaras.
Anyways,
They
I
did it with
mean,
Toads and Tiaras, and that was awesome.
anyways, I mean, for the whole picture, they did that whole be yourself moral, but it didn't really apply well for that because the sisters were like so like upset and distraught about it. So they'd be like, "Oh, we have to change ourselves to this picture." The thing is that I'm not against like people wanting to be themselves for others, but sometimes you have to put your pride aside just so you can look nice for certain people in order to get by in life. It's the hard truth, but it's the truth.
Yeah, you talked about that
Yeah.
before. How you felt that in a way that people aren't entirely right to put Lincoln completely in the wrong about that.
Yeah, like they basically the sisters are making it such a big deal, and I'm just like, you just have to take a picture, and it's only going to take you a few minutes, and
Like
yet they act like
just a
they're
second.
so offended by it, and that they're the victims in the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like just to
why.
take a picture where the flash just lasts less than a second.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think it. I mean that's why I think it didn't work, and it didn't work for making the grade because it tried to make Lincoln out to be the complete villain, and that
Worst part.
everyone should hate him. I mean, it worked the best in Toads and Tiaras because, like I was saying earlier, like it gets the moral right because both characters learn a lesson in all this. Lincoln learns that he shouldn't have to change people for who they are, which luckily they didn't have to try and treat him like shit in the episode. And for Lola, I mean not Lola, Lana, she learns that she should just be herself and that it's not worth changing who she is
Hmm?
just for some Dairyland tickets. So in a way, both
Yeah,
characters learned something in that.
Mm.
yes they did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's why, and they're probably going to continue with the whole be yourself moral for this series because, of course, they will.
Already.
3 times already, and there's probably another time that I probably forgot about in another episode.
Do you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you,
I can hear
Yoshi.
you.
Oh, I've been saying a bunch of things. The sound was off. Oops. I hope I didn't say anything random.
Well, you were saying stuff like, "Oh, the pain."
Oh, I was talking to someone else. Sorry.
All right.
I don't want people to say that's how I feel about the episode.
Yeah, like we were talking about like the whole picture, and you're like, "Oh, the pain," and I'm just like, "Oh, I guess you don't like
Oh
this."
no 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 no! Oops oops oops! That was awkward.
No, it's good. Like this is all freeform. We're just like talking about whatever.
Sorry, I was talking to a friend on Skype.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And we're also I was talking about this with you guys earlier. And it was out the episode Yes Man, which is actually gonna be coming out later in season 2.
Oh yes, man.
Which we still hope that this is an episode where it's focused on Lenny and Luna with Lincoln in it.
It better be.
Yeah, I hope, because if it's not, then I'll be disappointed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but even with a title like that, I don't really know how the episode would go.
I mean, when I heard the title, I thought to myself, "What's the story in this?"
I mean, when I think Yes Man, I'm thinking, is this like based off that Jim Carrey film where he basically says yes to do everything in life? I mean, I don't know if you guys probably have never seen it, but that's what I immediately thought of.
I haven't, but yeah, but I know the term "yes man" is also used for like a term of somebody who's basically just agrees with what someone else says all the time.
But I don't really think that episode would go in that direction, because if it did, then the episode would end up just being called Whipping Boy or Whipped or something.
Yeah.
So I hope, and it also was rumored that it could also be an episode focused on Smooch, which we haven't really seen since For Rose About to Rock. Like, we also remember that that's Lincoln's favorite band, and that most likely his favorite genre of music is rock.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just like Luna.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if they actually end up
Speaking of-
making that an episode where like it has like Lincoln and Luna like back to like with music and whatnot, that would be cool. It's just that I don't really know how Lenny would play into the plot. Another theory that I had is that maybe they get her to try and dress up like I don't know, like band members of the group, or to try and like sneak in for like a VIP party at a concert.
Mhm.
Maybe that could be
Speaking
it.
of con- Speaking of music, I was thinking back to my fanfic on Loud Loudstock. This is a question I've asked some people, but you remember how I had like Mick and Smooch in that fanfic, and I have it where Weird Al appears at the concert they're at.
Yeah.
If Weird Al Yankovic ever guest starred on the show, would you want him to be himself or voice an original character?
I wanted to voice an original character because I think he's somebody. From what I've seen him do voices on, he can play like he's definitely his voice fits perfectly for playing like an eccentric, fun character. I feel like he was if he was just playing Weird Al, then it would just basically where he's just playing just himself. I mean, for like the common thing I have seen whenever he does voice characters is that he's very upbeat and cheerful. Like when he's playing Milo Murphy on Milo Murphy's Law, which I actually did just start seeing, and it's actually a pretty decent show so far.
I really like that one.
Yeah. So and also another question is that I mean if Weird Al was doing a character on the show on Loud House, what would his character be like?
I don't know.
Not really sure.
And not to, like would he like play like somebody who I feel like if he was playing somebody who would be involved with one of the sisters, my immediate first guess would probably be Luann.
Because not only is he a musician, but he's also a comedian.
Right, exactly. Oh, maybe Luann and Luna. Maybe that could lead to an episode where like both of them are involved in something. Like maybe it's a talent like okay, maybe it's a talent show where both of them are involved and like the prize is to spend a day with this character with this really fun comedian musician who's voiced by Weird Al. And Luna and Luann kind of get into a fight to see like who would be better and who's going to win the contest, the talent show.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, you know what? That would actually be a cool dream episode for me to see because I would really like to see that. And you can maybe even throw Lincoln in the story as well. Like maybe he ends up playing for both sides, like just because like he loves both of them.
Oh, maybe like both of them, they don't try to force or guilt trip him to be on their side. They just ask him like, please, bro, I need you to do this for me, but they don't like threaten or guilt trip him to do it.
Yeah, and then like at a certain point, Lincoln basically says like, "Look, you guys are basically using me because you want to try and beat one another, and I'm tired of it. You two love each other. You shouldn't let this talent contest get in the way." And then they would realize that they're doing that, and it's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really like to see that as an episode. It would be cool. I mean, if any of the writers were listening to this podcast, which they probably aren't, that would be it would be cool if they heard this and they kind of were like, "Oh, that would be a cool idea for an episode."
Speaking of Luann, I have something to say about Luann. This is kind of interesting. Back when the original short was first shown, Bathroom Break,
Yeah.
when we see all his sisters, and I was looking at all of them, for some reason, as soon as I saw Luann, I was thinking she's going to be a character I'm really going to like, and I was right. I predicted that.
I thought the same thing as well. But unfortunately, for what happened in April Fool's Rules, that's an episode that's very polarizing for a lot of people. Like, I'm unfortunately in the side that really, really doesn't like that episode. But there's also quite a few people that do really like that episode, and they've made the excuse of why Luann was acting so crazy and insane because it was April Fool's Day. Which, you know what, I do get that excuse, but there's a fine line between like pulling pranks and basically pulling stunts that are on the level of jackass.
Yeah. There's
Mm-hmm.
actually this one thought. There's actually this one thought I've always had where I think there's sort of a line. What is the difference between a harmless prank and just
Cool.
a total cruel joke?
Yeah, like there's like a part there's supposedly a prank in the episode where she shaves all the fur off the animals, which I'm just like, where's the joke in all that? Yeah, which I'm
And
just like, you're
of course,
not really like pulling a prank. You're just being a dick to your pets.
yeah, and same thing with like a lot of the other things, like when she traps them in the Joe. I mean, she's making a pun to go with it, but
Just because you say a pun doesn't mean that it qualifies as a prank. Like a prank that she would do would be like the water pail, like in Project Loud House, or
which is just
or
a harmless little joke.
yeah, like that's what she's known for, and that's what people like about her is that she wants to make people smile and make them laugh. Like and that's like that's what makes people really like her so much, is that she has that likability about her where she wants to make people happy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because when you look at it, I mean, sometimes like yeah, sometimes she does do like little pranks, but they're mostly harmless, and it's obvious she doesn't do them. She doesn't do them with malicious intention. She just wants everyone to smile.
Yeah, and when you have an episode like April Fool's Rules, it basically throws that out the window, and it just wants to basically
And
make
make her
Luann look insane.
a relentless psychopath.
Yeah, which really, and out of all of her jokes in that, well, quote unquote jokes in that episode, they didn't work. The only joke in that episode that worked for me didn't even come from Luann. It was from Lenny, when she couldn't even tell the difference between drawing straws and drawing straws as in like pulling them out of like straws.
That was a funny joke. I like that
That was
part.
like the only joke that worked in the
It
episode.
wasn't even from Luann. It was from Lenny.
Yeah,
How disappointing is that?
it is. All right, so I think this will be a stopping point for our first episode of Loudcast. I mean, we've already talked about quite a bit on our first episode.
Yep.
Yeah, so all right, so that's gonna wrap up our
Oh, and
first. Yoshi
all
has
you
something to say.
Talking Loud fans, stay tuned because soon I'll be posting a video on this YouTube channel.
Yeah,
It's a video where I'm gonna be reading a fan fiction
yeah, we'll let you guys.
in my own unique way.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. We'll let you guys know when that'll be up. It'll be sometime soon. Anyways, and also for
Probably
talking.
tomorrow.
And also for Talking Loud fans, our next episode of Talking Loud will be sometime next weekend, probably around May 6th or May 7th. We'll be talking about top 5 and bottom 5 episodes of season 1, and we'll be doing that before we talk about the new episodes that will be coming up pretty soon. As for our next episode of the Loudcast, that might be coming up whenever we feel like getting together and talking about something, but we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, so until then, I'm Andrew Brauer.
I'm Yoshi Player.
And I'm the Cartoon OG, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys.
And we'll see you guys next time.